Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa podcast, and welcome to our transfer special of who do Aston Villa need in the summer transfer window. So I want you guys at home to drop one player name who you would love Aston Villa to sign in the summer. You can put a reason, you can put whatever you want to put, but I want to know who you think we should sign in the summer. What position, what's your vibe, what you're going with. Me, Justin and Ryan, we've all done the same. We've all picked one player, the one player that really excites us, that is pretty realistic, I think, and just someone that we feel like when we look at our team now, what are we crying out for? What areas need looking at? Positional wise, everything like that. So, are we all right?
Very well,
Buzzing.
It's annoying that we haven't got a match this weekend, isn't it? I think that's the most annoying thing for me. So, right. Do we think I should go first, or who do we think should go first? Right, am I going first? Right. So, I'm not messing about. And I'm going full send attack mode, and I'm going for it. I want pace, power, guile, creativity, off the cuff. I want it all. And my player that I've gone with is Nico Williams. 20 years of age, market value of £27 million. He's got a SOFA score average rating of 6.82 this season. He's scored 4 goals, he's got 4 assists, and he's got a 79 pass accuracy. So, like I say, he's pacey, he's powerful, he loves to dribble, he attacks fullbacks at pace. One of his good things that I think is important and why I've picked him as well is his 2v1 attacking is very, very good. So when he's being doubled up on, he's absolutely fantastic. He can wriggle out of tight areas. I think next season, if we are seeing teams with a mid and a low block, I think he's going to be brilliant at trying to break through those. He's got really good shift movement where he slows it down and he goes and he's away. He's got a really good delivery. His composure's very good, and he hugs the touchline. He offers width. He's direct, he rides tackles well, and he attacks fullbacks at pace. And I think he's young, he's vibrant, he's unpredictable, and I think that is exactly what me needs. So for my position, I'm thinking out wide. I think I've looked at us over the course of the last few games, and, at times I do feel like we do lack that little bit of unpredictability up top, that little bit more pace, and especially against West Ham, and I know a lot of you will have remembered me saying this, we missed someone up there that could give us that outlet, that could just win us the game. So that's my vibe on Nico Williams. What we saying, guys?
I think it's an interesting one. He's only young as well, isn't he? He's only 20. So he's got a lot of potential, a lot of growth there as well. And a manager, something the manager could work with. The only question I would have is, would he go for a second young striker after signing Duran? But obviously, as a potential, I think, there isn't many young players of his ilk really around Europe.
That heat map is hot.
Yeah,
that is a hot heat.
And I mean, why I've picked him as well is, I'm really looking at areas in our team that I'm thinking potentially could really be improved on. And I think everybody will say that there's one player that's, just not performing, not hitting high standards, and it's Leon Bailey. So for me, if we've got that so far this season, this is an area where I think Emery's going to be looking at, and he's going to want to have something a little bit different. But like I say, I think that outlet from him is brilliant. I love that he's already sort of a little bit like the Grealish vibe at Bilbao. You know, he's got that vibe to him, like he wears the badge with pride, and I think he could do that for Villa as well. He seems to have the right characteristics for me, and I just really like him. Like every time I've seen him play, I think he's just really attacking and pacey, and he's got power. And for me, that's something that this Villa side is lacking at times. It's just that little bit of an outlet, and I think he would add to our in transition play as well. And I think he would buy time, especially on those away games where sometimes it's tight and we need that little bit of an outlet. So I think he'd be a great signing for Villa, and I think it's definitely one to keep an eye on. We were heavily linked with him, weren't we? Especially in January as well. So I feel like he's a player, and I'd be excited to see him come at Villa. So does anyone else want to add anything?
Yeah, I think it's an area of the pitch. When we come on to mine, that I do think we need to add quality to now as well, because that's where you win games, isn't it? That top end, and we let Danny Ings go. We're going with Watkins, and we've got Durant, to come on hopefully and just improve over the next couple of seasons. But I think in those attacking roles, so the three sort of attacking areas, left, right, and the central role, I don't think you can have too many good players, can you? Because of the amount of substitutes we can put on now as well, and with injury suspensions, hopefully we'll go deeper in cup competitions as well. Europe hopefully on the horizon in the next 2 or 3 years, and at his age, he's only going to get better, you would think. So yeah, it's a good shout, to be honest, really good shout. Question mark whether where we could get him away from there. Because I think his brother Iñaki Williams. Are they brothers?
Yeah.
Are they, or do they just? Yeah, I know that they're both hugely loyal to the club. So it would be an interesting one if he does move. Where he would go.
So this is the area in which I personally feel like he's really going to be looked at. That's just my vibe of everything that I've seen so far with Villa. For me, that's one of the positions where I'm sort of thinking that's what I think needs improving. So right then, let's go. We'll go Justin next then. Justin, you go with yours then. So who are you going with?
I've gone for something slight. I don't know. Is it controversial? I think it possibly is a little bit controversial. But I was looking at, basically, when you gave us this brief to go and find a player that we'd like to sign, I tried to think of somebody that was realistic. I think this one's a tough ask to get, but I think he's someone we should be going after. Again, in that role that you've sort of highlighted, the Bailey role, although he can play across basically all of the attacking positions and up top as well if needs be. So he covers multiple areas. He's currently at a club that's not doing that great. And he's out of contract in the summer as well. That's a bit of a clue for you. And that player is Wilfried Zaha. Now, I've come to the conclusion he'd be a good signing for us. The negatives on him is his age. He's 30. But where we're going over the next 2 or 3 seasons, I think he's easily got another 2 or 3 seasons in him in the top flight. I have to thank massively avfc Stato, who I picked the brains of to get some stats for us to go over. In the last 9 Premier League seasons, Zaha is 14th overall for goal contributions across the whole of the Premier League. And the only people that are basically ahead of him with that's goals and assists were Kane, Salah, Vardy, Aguero, De Bruyne, Mane, Son, Sterling, Firmino, Mahrez, Eriksen and Hazard. So he's in really, really good company there. He's one of the elite attackers. And yes, he's a bit of a shithouse, to be honest. And it's one of them players that you don't like playing against you. But when he's on your team, you absolutely love him because he dies to win games of football and he wants to win games of football. He's got a bit of a bad reputation within the Premier League, and that probably would put a few people off signing him. But I've got a group that I talked to, Villa fans, and I put it out there yesterday, and I said, what would you think to this signing? And pretty much universally, the same thing came back. I don't like him when he plays against us, but I take him all day long in our team. As I say, his age goes against him a little bit, but I don't think that's a problem with us over the next 2 or 3 seasons. He's and another good point factor which I found out was at Arsenal, when Emery was at Arsenal, he pushed heavily to get Zaha into Arsenal, and it was only the board that stopped the move, and they in the end went for Nicolas Pepe. So I think there's a link there to Emery as well, who wanted him in the past. There's big rumours of interest still from Arsenal and Chelsea, so that's, that could put the kibosh on it, because it would still mean he's remaining in London. But I think we offer him something a bit different. I think we offer him, if we can finish the season really, really strongly, we offer him a chance to progress into the top, 6, 7 of the league. And I think we'd offer him a pretty much starting berth with the based on what we've got currently now. Whereas at Chelsea or Arsenal, he wouldn't be guaranteed that. And we know when he went to Man United, he drifted away and he ended up having to go back to Palace. So I think there's lots of box ticks. He does a lot off the field for charity as well. I found out that he gives 10% of his monthly wage to charities. So he's actually not a bad bloke off the pitch. He's just got a bit of a reputation on it. But I would take a punt on him. Free transfer would take a lot of wages, obviously. But I think he would add something a bit different, to be honest, going forward. He's a bit of a maverick, scores goals, creates goals, causes havoc. Teams hate it playing against him. So that was my what I came up with. What do you think?
Nice. What do you think, Ryan?
He's a player you want on your team more so than what you want to be playing against, isn't it? It's like Grealish as well. We all love Grealish, but the opposition fans hated him. And that's the same reputation that Zaha has got. At times, he is a bit petulant. That's quite annoying. He's very annoying at Villa Park, in fact. He's had a couple of run-ins with Mings and stuff, but he's a top player, isn't he? He's a top player. His move to Man United didn't quite work out, did it? But he was still signed by Alex Ferguson and seen something in him, but it just didn't quite work out. I think, was it Moyes that sold him in the end then?
I don't think he was ready in his head for that move at the time, Ryan.
Young,
yeah.
But he went back to Palace, and he's carried Palace for years, hasn't he? No disrespect to the players that have played around him, but he's been that linchpin that's held it all together and dragged them through, and he's scored some big goals for him, and he's been a big player. And he'll be looking now, 30 years old, thinking, I've done everything respectfully at Palace now. And I think maybe his time has passed where he'll get a move to a top 6 club. So what's your next options? You're looking at your Newcastles, your Villas, your Leicesters, maybe, that type of club. And I don't think I'd be disappointed if we signed him. Don't know whether he quite fits the Emery mould, but like you say, it might be a different player off the pitch to a different player.
I did think that. I was questioning whether Emery would go after him, and then when I didn't have to do a lot of digging. When I found out that he was Emery's first choice for that role at Arsenal, and that wasn't that long ago, so he would be pretty fresh in his mind.
Did Arteta try and get him as well?
I don't know if Arteta. I know that the articles I've read was that I don't know whether Emery did them post leaving Arsenal. That he got hung out to dry a little bit, didn't he, with the Arsenal fans saying that But I think he did put a lot of things in place for this run that they're on now, to be honest. And one of the things he wanted was Zaha in instead of Pepe, and Pepe's already pulled up any trees, and especially considering they spent £72 million on Pepe. I don't think Zaha would have cost them that much at the time. But on a free, there ain't going to be many better frees in the summer. And he's, like you say, he's done his time at Palace now. He's ran his contract down. I would think they're going to stay up. I think it'd be a bit of a... I mean, they're in the mix going down, but I still think they're one of the ones that will stay up. And I think his time's come. And like you say, whether the top sides, I don't think the cities, the Man Uniteds are going to be going after him. As I say, there is a strong link there with Arsenal, but does he want to go there and sit on the bench when he's 30? And Chelsea, there's a lot of trouble still at Chelsea. I do see us in the summer. If we finish, say, 8th this season, with the owners we've got, with the infrastructure that's coming, with the players we've got, we should be in pole position, regardless of whether we went for him or not. The type of player he is, with the level he brings. Those are the players now that we have to start seriously going after, I think.
Yeah, it's because we should be, if we carry on this form now till the end of the season, we're an attractive club to come to,
Yeah,
aren't we? It's not
massive.
potential anymore where, okay, we're going to build a stadium, we're building this, we're doing this, we're doing this. We're actually results on the table, on the pitch. There you go. This is the proof in the pudding. This is where we're going. This is our system. This is our identity. We want you in on it. So much more of a bargaining for Aston Villa come this summer now.
Yeah, and I think it, like what you've said, it's sort of, in the past, it's sort of, you're kind of having to sell them the vision, where
Yeah.
the vision is then brought a little bit closer because you're in and around where you want to get to anyway, and you know you can see what type of manager we've got. You can see what the ambition is to what say. Imagine say we finished 10th or 9th, like, and you're saying we want to get into Europe. So you're saying we've got to finish 3 or 4 places higher than what we did last season. Can we do it? This is what we got last year, and I think a lot of them will look at it and think, yeah, and you know. We were very clever in January in the sense of we didn't sort of... I think the thing that happened in January, why there was a bit of a meltdown with fans as well, is the fact that we were still in that bit of a mix, weren't we? We were still trying to show the fans what our identity was. We were still trying to get safe from relegation, but we weren't there, were we? And the fact that we didn't sign any players was a bit like... Oh God! Like what's going to happen now? This could still happen, but the fact that in the summer we're then heavily going to back Emery, I think we just look a really good proposition. Like I think we will be getting to the stage where why would you not want to come to Villa? I think that would be one of it's a stupid thing. Do you know what I mean? Because the players can see that we're going somewhere.
I think that's an interesting point you've made there. The not signing tons of people for tons of money in January, because we are going to be a different proposition in the summer, because we can see the trajectory we're on now currently, and we can see we're going to finish, you would think, in the top half, I would hope. So the money we would have spent in January now, that money becomes of greater value to us now in the summer, because we could have spent £30 million on a player in January that 30 million could go to a much better player that we can attract in the summer. And all we needed was a little bit of vision and foresight, which is what I would hope that's what the club sat and decided. Let's just keep our powder dry here. We've got money to spend. We do want players, but if we end up in a much better position in the summer than we are now, then the level of player we can attract increases tenfold, doesn't it? You know, the likes of Zaha, if we finish in 15th, 16th, 17th, you know, there's no way we're going to attract a player like him
and
on a free, because he'll have his pick of everyone.
And the other thing about January as well, which I think was probably great from Emery's side of things, is imagine we signed a brand new centre half in January, or imagine we signed a central midfielder or whatever, a position that, any position on the pitch. Look at what this period of time now has been able to teach Emery and us fans that have been watching Villa since January to now. It's taught me that there are some good footballers at Villa. Everybody would have written off Mings and Konsa, but now look at him. Emery has waited and been bold and said, I'm not signing anyone, I'm having a look at what I've got, I'm working with these, and now he's finding out that they're actually quite good footballers at playing out from the back. They can do what I'm asking them to do, and I'm not saying like he's not going to replace them, because he might replace them, do you know what I mean? But at least it's allowed him to have a proper look at the core that he's already got and made a proper decision on them having, say, I don't know, how many games is Emery going to have managed at Villa come the end of the season? Like 20
odd, yeah.
26 games. Now, I trust Emery's judgment to have made, in that period of time, the correct call of having a look at all these players. And I think that's what January taught us as well, because we could have just signed players, put them in, and then never had a look at these ones. And then, so I do stick by and stand by what I said and what a lot of you said on this channel, that January was a good window for Villa because we didn't waste money and we didn't panic, and I kind of liked that we did that, because for so many years we've seemed to just panic, and
We got a lot out as well.
there's never been a plan. So I absolutely loved it. So yeah, so I think the summer is going to be good and very busy for us on this channel, talking about players coming in. So Ryan, go on then. What
Come
you
on,
going
Ryan.
with?
Blow the roof off.
Well, he won the World Cup in the winter.
Messi.
Let's get him in. Get Martinez on the phone. No, I'm also along the same thinking of you guys, same positional thinking. I started to think, what does Emery like? What does he like? What sort of player does he like? And I'm thinking, a bit of a diamond in the rough and a bit of a youthful player. You know, if you sack off his Paris Saint-Germain days where he signed Neymar and Draxler and he signed Mbappe on loan. He was the one that brought him to PSG to start off with. You put that to one side and you look at his signings, his good signings for Arsenal, which I feel like at Emery signings, I don't trust that Pepe probably was an Emery signing. I'm looking at Guendouzi, who I'm still very horny for. I hope he arrives in the summer, which I think he will. He signed Martinelli, Saliba, and then Villarreal as well. He's brought in players where you think their career's going down the pan, really, like Coquelin from Arsenal.
Coquelin,
yeah, he brought him back, and he's a main man in midfield for Villarreal. So I feel like a signing like that was my thinking. That was my thinking. So I looked domestically, and I'm thinking I had a look at the 12th down. All these ones that were in a battle. Like you, I had a look at Zaha. I had a look at Eze, Neves. There's quite a few players down here. If their team drop, they're going to be sought after. And then I had a look at Leicester, and I thought, a cheeky little bid for Iniacho. I thought he might not be a
Well, at least you won't score against us.
Exactly, yes, yeah. And then I started to look a bit higher up then about players which aren't playing, like your Mason Mounts, your Sanchos, maybe like a Mahrez that might come through. But one player that caught my eye at the Premier League that I thought well suited to Aston Villa.
He's building this up, isn't he? Come on, Ryan.
Brennan Johnson from Nottingham Forest. That's who I like. He caught my eye at the World Cup initially. He had some quite electric cameos. Looked lively. He's 21. He's a Welsh international. And for me, Emery can mould him. He's comfortable in the 9 position. He's played up top with Morgan Gibbs-White all season. Led that line for Forest, and the players that are coming in and out of that club, the manager is stuck with them too, and they are doing a great job. But he's also comfortable as a number 10, and he's comfortable on the wing. He's led the line all season. He's got 7 goals. His XG is 6.84, so he's exceeding his expected goals. His assists, he's got 2. But his expected assists is nearly at 3. So, better players around him will finish off his chances that he's creating. He's created 3 big chances. And what I liked about him the most is his progressive carries. He's picked the ball up. It's a bit Grealish-esque. He's got that bit of swagger. He can drop a shoulder and bang, he's gone. He's got that pace. He's got that acceleration. He's got that dribbling. But one of the other things I was watching against Newcastle is defensive play. And I thought, I'll have a look at a couple of stats just to back that up. And it is. For forward, his defensive play is among the best in the league. His tackles, his blocks, if you check out his heat map, all down that right-hand side, he's covering it. He's all over that right-hand side. And for me, like you've touched on, that's where we're sort of lacking a bit. That's where I felt like we was lacking it on Saturday. Traore come on and it sort of brought the game back into our favour then. I thought we looked much better then. So I think that is one of the key positions. Well, the proof's in the pudding. All 3 of us have picked a player to play that position, hasn't it? So Yeah.
Poor old Leon Bailey.
No, it's competition. I think
Yeah.
if he does hang
No,
around,
I
it's
agree. It's the
competition for him,
weakest
isn't it?
part of the team, isn't
Yeah.
it? It is, yeah.
I really like Johnson. I would say the only way he would leave is if they got relegated. So I think,
Or a
It'd be,
big bid.
it'd be very sought after, but I'm thinking like Ashley Young vibes when he was at
yeah,
Watford,
they've,
getting him in
they've,
at
they've
21.
apparently, if they stay up, their owners are absolutely minted and are going for it. So
Yeah.
I think it would depend if they get relegated. And yeah, I really like him. I rate him. You know, his goals first season in the Premier League, it's brilliant. To be fair, so yeah, I think he's a good player. It's interesting, like that we have all picked the same position. We didn't know who each person was picking, so I think that's interesting. So let's have a look then at where potentially else we could look to strengthen then, because I feel like if I had to say two positions where I do think we're going to strengthen, this position like we've spent about half hour talking about, and I do feel like it's this one here. Now this is if we play the same system next season and the same side, if that makes sense. We could potentially go a little bit more like that, and then it would look. Do you know what I mean? Like that could be the higher one, and then that could, it could look a little bit different with the winger being more on this side, and then this one would be more of an inside forward. So, I think it does depend on what we actually do go for. But I do feel like that sort of inside forward slash winger slash. He used the term specialised winger, didn't he, in
Yeah.
January? And I don't think that's what he's referring to. I think it's this one that he refers to as a specialist winger. So, do you two agree that potentially this is an area that he's looking at as well?
I think he's going to look at everywhere. If I'm brutally honest, I think he's if we can get rid of all the players that are out currently on loan, then we are left with a reasonable sized squad. You would think maybe one or two of the current first teamers would probably be moved on as well in the summer. I'm thinking of the likes of Chambers possibly and Traore possibly. So it does leave us a little bit short in probably two or three positions. And I think he's the type of manager that wants two quality players, which is the ideal, isn't it? Two quality players in every single position on the pitch. So I think he won't close himself off from anything really. If something crops up that he wants, I think he'll have certain positions where he'll want to, get the deals done pretty quickly and strengthen. I think up front is one as well. We all look at Duran, but he's very unproven and needs a lot of polishing. And at his age, he's got plenty of time to do that. And I think another striker coming in to take the weight off him, his development will definitely be on the cards. Whether they go hugely big on that or they look for another young player I did think about putting into this actually was at Brighton, and my brother reminded me today of how we had a chat in the shop about it. Evan Ferguson, a lad that's coming through at Brighton, who looks a real prospect at 18 years of age, one to look out for. And centre midfield as well. I think there's options there. And again, another young player that I've sort of been looking at today, Hugo Larsson, that plays for Malmo. Again, only 18, coming through lots of big clubs looking at him. So whether he goes for youth, hoping to develop them, I don't think you can fill your squad full of them because you're going to want quite a few like ready-made players that can come in and do a job from the off. I've also thought today, I do think we're going to keep Coutinho for another season after this as well. I think he really, really has bought into it, and I think his form was improving before his injury. Buendia's really good in that position. Bailey, the question marks over him, but Ramsey, what will he do with Aaron Ramsey as well in the summer? What will he do with Archer? There's lots of different question marks over, what he's going to do with the current squad, and then moving on to what he wants to add in January. It's going to be, in my opinion, one of our best and most exciting Januaries since I can remember.
Yeah, I mean, we had a comment the other day, and it was like something along the lines of, "Do you think we're gonna back Emery?" And I just think we can't not, like I just think that there's no way we don't get all of his top targets. I just don't see a window where that doesn't happen because, you know, NSWE were at the game on Saturday, and you know, even for owners, they must have been sat there thinking, "My God, like, look how much this has improved." You know, they must be thinking they've won the lottery or something because, you know, for that squad to be playing that way, they must be thinking, if we give this dude what he needs, we're going to achieve what we want. So, yeah, I just think they can't not like.
No, definitely not. I don't think he comes to us if we haven't promised it him. You know, he's going to want certain parameters. He's going to work to, and you know, there'll be certain targets that he might have come in with and said, look, I want these players. I think Guendouzi is one of them. I think we tried to nip in there early in January, hoping to prize him away, get him in early. But I do feel that he'll be in the summer. So
Is he on a free in the summer?
No.
No.
Shame.
Justin's wants
Trying
more.
to get everyone on a free.
Yeah, man.
Trying to save them some money.
Get the money out.
Trying to save us some money.
We'll get to Europe. We won't have spent a penny, man.
Well, I do feel like with the owners, it'll be an element of trust with Emery. I feel like it'd be like he's spending his own money. You know, he's going to.
But he's already shown that, Ryan.
Yeah, exactly.
He's already done it.
His summer spending will be the same as well. He ain't gonna overpay, or he's not gonna give a player too much wages and stuff like that. I think he'll have a lot of control over the transfer policy and what these players are getting.
I think something that's very important too, as a fan base, we have to understand as well, because there's lots, as we know, there's lots of frustrations around transfer windows and, we haven't bought this player, we haven't bought that, and we've missed out on him. We are now moving into a territory of buying, hopefully, some of the best players in Europe, because that's what we need to take us where we need to go. Yeah. It's as simple as that. So we're going to be competing with all the best teams in Europe. You know, if Newcastle finish 6th or 7th and just outside of Europe, they're going to go massive in the summer to try and get, to try and push on, and they've got the finances to do it. So we're going to be competing with them. We're going to be competing with lots of teams, even with some of the maybe top 4, top 6 teams, trying to nick players that they might see as squad players for them that would probably be starters for us. So we've got to be realistic that there will be certain players we go after that we won't get because of the market we are shopping in. We've been shopping in Aldi and Lidl, now we're going up to Waitrose, aren't we? So we've got to be really careful that our aspirations, we don't get too concerned. We've got to trust the process, trust the manager. I'm sure there'll be 1 or 2 options in every position that we want, and obviously they'll want their first choice, but that's not always possible. But whoever we bring in, I trust that Emery will know he's the player for him, and that he will know that he's the kind of player he can work with and improve. And if we're already buying players that are of quality, any of the players we've mentioned are quality players, and if he comes in and any of those 3 came in and he improved them even slightly, then we got hell of a player. We'll have some hell of players, to look forward to seeing next season. So I'm quite calm with it, to be honest. I'm looking forward to the summer, and I think we're going to sign some absolute ballers.
Yeah, it'll be similar to the winter window, though, won't it? It'll be quality over quantity.
Yeah,
we don't need to go out and fill gaps and plug holes this summer. We're buying quality to add competition to that first team, to take the place of these first teamers now, to put that competition and throw down the gauntlet. I'm looking at it like we've got pretty much got a bench to fill, probably 4 or 5 players to throw into that mix and really get the competition going. At the minute, Louise and Kamara, they're safe. Everyone's pretty much, you can run through the whole squad, everyone's pretty much safe, aren't they? Ramsey's are safe, your Baileys are safe at the minute, your Watkins now. Add some quality, add some competition, push each other, and
I think
the
the
way
spine of the
plays
team
it as well. Look, when I think back to Gerrard and we was having 2 players for every position. Well, so and so's going to play there, and when's he going to get a game? When's he going to get a game? It's like when Target left. When Luca Dean come in. Well, Target for me bailed too early. He didn't fight it out. But you look at the way Emery's managed 2 left backs now with the 5 substitutes. It's you might start this game on the bench, but you could be playing 40 minutes a game, 40 minutes a game, 60 minutes a game. He manages the squad so well. The game time that everybody's getting and the tactical shifts in every game, it is really a squad game now for Aston Villa.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be... the reason why I think it's going to be a good window for Villa as well is I think there's going to be a lot of movement with some big, big players, which will mean that the attention goes away from hopefully some of the targets that we're after. Imagine, for example, Leicester and West Ham get relegated, right? So you're already talking, Rice is off. So he's off anyway.
I think he's off anyway.
He's probably off, how much is he going to go for?
He's only got a year left.
So a top 4 team's going to already spend about 70 mil on Declan Rice. You've got Bowen that could potentially go. Bellingham looks like he's coming to the Premier League. You've got Kane, who looks like he may be leaving Spurs to go to United.
Mason
Mount wants to leave Chelsea. Bowen, Harvey Barnes, Iheanacho. So, because this relegation battle's so big as well, there's some big teams that can go. And I don't know, I've just got a funny vibe that for some reason, it's going to help Villa. All these players leaving, and we can just go under the radar and get our little targets.
Look how much we've gone under the radar now. No one's really picking up on Emery's form. I'm not seeing much praise. I've seen a few articles this week coming out where nobody's watched us, man. These journalists, nobody watches us or what's going on. They've seen our run. They threw a little article together, but there's no in-depth or insight. I'm thinking to myself, none of you have watched Villa, and we've slowly we've crept up that league. We've caught everybody. Without jumping into that top 10, we're pretty much up with everyone in 7th place, aren't we? Slowly done it, and we're a win and draw away from 6th place, and now everybody's starting to take notice. So, like you say, Luke, if we can operate under the radar in the transfer window and
I've seen this one journalist, right, and I was so tempted to comment, but I just thought, you ain't worth my time because you ain't got a clue. And he was just basically saying that Unai Emery's not an elite manager, right? So fair enough, that's his opinion, right? That is his opinion.
Is sure he's paid as be a journalist?
Yeah. In his same sentence, he was saying that there's like some big new up-and-coming managers, such as De Zerbi from Brighton. And I just thought, you're holding him and saying that he's like this really good up-and-coming manager, but he's managed in the Premier League like 5 months, and he's riding the cusp of form of a Brighton side that we're doing half decent anyway. And I just felt like he's bigging him up, saying he's the future, and I'm just like, but you can't acknowledge that this guy that Villa have got has won numerous European trophies, and this guy just won't give him no recognition. I just thought, what an idiot! Like, it's just ridiculous. And honestly, I'm all for it, because I just think, as long as we keep going under this radar like this, then we'll be fine, because we can rock up first game of next season and just blitz the start, with all our nice new shiny players in our nice new system that's like a well-oiled machine after pre-season. And I just think we'll just roll through August and September, and then that's what we'll do. So
I think we're still paying the price for the wider world and those kind of journalists of our relegation. I think we are. I think they still don't see us as a big threat to whoever, to the top half of the table, to Europe, to cup competitions, and that becomes because of what happened to us. But that's becoming that's becoming further and further in the past now, isn't it? And by hiring a manager of Emery's, he's the final piece, isn't he? I think. I haven't been this excited about Villa in a long time. It's like we were like a classic car that was locked away in someone's garage, and everyone has forgotten about us. And then the owners sort of think, oh, actually, that used to be an amazing car, that did. So they've bought us. They've now been spending money on parts for us with the players, and they got to a point where it was only going so far. What they needed was a top mechanic to come in and tweak it and to just hone it and get the engine purring again. And that's Emery. He is our top mechanic. He's the bloke now tasked with purring this engine, and he just needs the quality parts now in the summer to take us on to that next level, and that's what's going to happen in the summer. And then these people that have just forgotten what a club we are and how big we are, they can start eating some humble pie because we're coming for them. We're coming for the
We're
top.
purring. I love it, mate. I love it.
Yeah, it's good, and you're right in what you're saying because I've always felt like me personally as a Villa fan, I've always had that sort of. It's always been hope. I think the word would be. I've always hoped we'd be good, but now I'm
Mine up to
starting. I'm starting to already see that we are good. Like it's already there. Like I don't need anything now to say that next season we're going to be good because I just know we are. We've got the manager. I can see the style of play already, and I'm just buzzing for it. Really, I just can't wait, and I'm just literally. I love going to Villa Park now. I love watching us play, and I don't go there thinking sort of like, oh, this is going to be hard work or this is going to be difficult or I just go there now and I feel like I know we're going to be all right, and that's a great feeling to have. And yeah, it's early days, but so what? Why can't we just say now that I think we are going to be good because we've got a great guy leading us and it's just fantastic. So
But you watch that what Villa put out, the Unai Emery cam, the camera following him, and you can see, and you can almost see into his soul. He lives, eats, breathes it, doesn't he? Every inch of that football club he has control of, and you can see it. The players, the coaching, day to day, everything, and to have him in charge, I'm over the moon with it, mate, and it's only going to get better.
it was one on that cam. It was one of the goals we scored. I think it was Ramsey's goal, and he was just like that, and he was just like admiring it, and he didn't really
Like a
say
proud dad,
it.
like a proud dad he was,
Yeah,
looking at his son. Yeah,
it was just like that's my team ticking, and like the first one he was like that, and he was high five, but the second one he was just chill, man, and I was just like, what a don? He's just like admiring what he's created in his like laboratory at home, like it's
It was similar to
brilliant.
the West Ham one, wasn't it? Do you see that one, the pitch side, where he's
Nah,
egging Moreno and he's going, go, 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 go. He whips the ball in and you can hear him go, yes! Yeah, he's living on the touchline like us fans in the stadium, isn't he? So it's incredible. We're so lucky, so lucky.
yeah, we are, to be fair. I mean, we are when you're seeing like Hodgson being carted out. Like, for God's sake, is that the best they can find? Like, let's just dig him out. Like, he's 75. Like, I can't. I just. Oh my! How uninspiring is that?
they must have a. That the only thing I could think is that they've got someone lined up for the summer, and they just needed anybody to
Okay.
come in and just do it to the end of the season. And I suppose he knows the club, he knows the players. It's an easy fit for him, isn't he? He can come in. What is it? 11, 12 games. That's it,
Yeah, but do
and
you
he'll be
know what?
done.
Right, I was reading a thread on Hodgson coming in, and a lot of the fans were saying, but we only need like him to get 3 wins, and I was kind of like, I don't think they understand the
They
perilous
haven't won
position
this
that they're
year.
in. Because mate, you're only 3 points above the
Yeah,
relegation zone, and you're saying you only need 3 points 3 wins to survive. So you're saying
I'd be,
12 points, but
I'd,
like, I don't think that's enough.
I'd be more worried if they gave him a 5-year contract.
But
That'd be
yeah,
quite worrying,
I
wouldn't
just,
it?
I just can't believe that. Like,
The thing
the,
is, though, you're backing yourselves to beat the teams down the bottom. You can't just keep going, all right, we've got this terrible run of 6 games, but after that, yeah, we're going to pick up points, but you get on that downhill spiral. And when you come to them games, you can't just click your
I
confidence like
suppose
that and
they're
put
hoping they'll have a
everything
new
back into
manager
place.
bounce, don't they? Within the next 2 or 3 games, they'll get a win
That's
and a
it, yeah.
draw, and
We've
that'll be
rolled
it,
the
won't it?
dice.
But
Yeah. But I look at Leicester and I thought they were pulling away. And then I looked at the league table.
they're right back down there, aren't they?
17th
Yeah.
again. It's like, 2 bad results and you're back down there. And for Palace, if they don't get beat by some of these teams, that they're not playing that bad collectively. Yeah,
Well,
teams are beating other teams,
yeah.
and
You
they
look
are
at
picking up points. But
you
Palace
look at
aren't. They're the ones that are falling and falling and
yeah, yeah.
falling, and it'd be hard to turn that trajectory around. I think.
But you look at the Wolves. They beat they beat Tottenham and Liverpool, good wins, and they're still like now. All the teams below them got a game in hand. They can finish. They can be like 18th, 17th, 18th.
Do you know what? Do
I
you know
lost
what
lost
the
the Bournemouth
problem
at
with
home.
this is? Right, this relegation battle is, for example, if two teams were pretty much already gone, and that one team was to go on a run and get consistency, they could catapult that table and be safe. But
Yeah,
because there's 9 teams there that can still go down, even if you win a game or win 2 games, you're not safe because there's too many there. And
yeah.
I looked
I
at
think that's the
Was it?
problem.
when Southampton beat Chelsea the other week at Chelsea. I thought, flipping hell, they'd be buzzing with that. And I looked at the league table, a couple of other teams won, and they didn't move. And I thought,
No.
oh, that must be so disheartening.
But like you say, Luke, there's 9 teams down there that are fighting out for 3 positions, and you got a 33% chance of getting relegated this season if you're one of them 9 teams. And that ain't good odds, is it?
No.
And none of them can string 2 wins together. I think it's going down to the last
Like,
game.
one of them win, Bournemouth beat Liverpool and they still stayed in the relegation zone. And then they lose to Villa and they're still there. And it's like, I honestly
You
think,
could have, last day of the season, no teams relegated.
I think they're all,
Everything
I
to play
think,
for.
I literally
I
think,
don't think that's ever happened, has it?
I
Not that
think they
can
could all
remember.
potentially still go on the last day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just can't see any of them getting on that big run to get clear of it now. I think,
And they've all got to play each other as well.
yeah, that's what
Like
I mean.
Wolves go
So-
away to Forest after next game. I mean, what a huge game that is.
Cup finals everywhere.
Yeah, I'm just
Happy
glad,
where we are, where
glad we're not in it.
looking down.
So that's our transfer special. It's just gone on a bit of a tangent to the relegation
usual.
battle, but yeah. So a bit of a lengthier one from us, but let us know what you think. Who's the player that you want to sign? So that's what this episode was all about. We want to know the names of who you're looking at, what positions, etc. So hopefully you've enjoyed this episode, and up the Villa.
Up the